Hi, everybody. Bob here. Um, we're talking about Spider Boy 5, 5. Mom, stop it. 5 and 1. 5 and 1. We're talking about Alan Scott Green Lantern, number 5. And we're also talking about what I plan to do for April Fool's Day this year, but my plans got derailed. Um, let's start with that. I plan to say, I planned to say that Barry Allen, the Barry Allen from the Marvel Universe, had worked his way into Spider Boy, complete with the Speed Force. But then I got talked out of it by my mom because it was a whole elaborate idea, and I said, yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, there was a time sphere, and she, she was like, well, then you wouldn't get paid for it if they used the idea. And I had to say that she was right. Um, so if a time sphere shows up in Spider Boy number 6 to save the little girl, well, then we know someone's watching my channel, then, don't we? Um, but needless to say, Spider Boy number 1 was good. I bought two covers. I'm only showing off one here. I like the other cover better. I like the one with that's kind of little kiddish art. But that's just me. I would still love to see that where he came from was like the amalgam universe, but with this it feels like they're distancing the character further and further away from that story and the original Spider Boy with every step. With both of these, you get um, the Helifino, a rhinoceros elephant hybrid whose human structure came from a little kid that Spider Boy knew because his main villain for this arc, um, main villain for this arc kind of worships the High Evolutionary, and she's like a super fan of that, so she goes around abducting people, and that's how she made the Halifino. Okay, so in number 5, you get an encounter with the main villain and the Halifino. Well, the main villain doesn't show up right away. She's just starting to remember Spider Boy because he was cut from the web of life and destiny, which that's why I threw out a time sphere, or like the the source wall, or something fun like that. But um yeah, like I said, you're gonna have to DC if you're interested. If you want to hear more, message me in the comments. Anyway, um, the high evolutionary is sort of an ass to her, and it really didn't feel like I lost much storyline wise by just picking up these 2 issues, because my local comic book store, they were already sold out of number 2 with Captain America. I did like that they have more than one story, but it didn't feel like I was getting a deal. It felt like it was just necessary for the story to proceed. Um, so that's my overall take on how it varies from, say, Booster Gold back in the day with Blue Beetle. They made it more obvious that this is going to lead into something else. So, um, I like the character Spider Boy. I'd like Bailey to stick around a while, but I predict when this series is over, that's probably the last we're gonna hear of him, because he'll probably like get erased or banished to the forgotten bin of characters somewhere. Mom, Mom and I don't think that he's even going to save the little girl in number 6, but it did a fine job. It made us curious to see if this little girl is going to turn into one of the main villain's human animal hybrids. It did what it did well. I mean, not as well as the other book. I have this week, because again, it felt like one story. I may have 3 books here, but it really felt like more. Really felt more like 2. So, um, yeah. number 1 was fine for what it was, and number 5 again fine for what it is. So I'll be generous and give it a 3. So together they make a fine 6, but that's out of 10. Um, this Green Lantern Alan Scott. I can't wait to see what they do with the Justice Society. With the Justice Society in future in like trades of this story, because the big reveal at the end was that the Green Lantern won't be doing this alone. I'm not going to tell you with who, but you can guess, because like I just said, it's going to be featured in Justice Society books. It's probably not going to end in number 6. The fight with Johnny Ladd was hang on, we'll pause it. Same shirt, same day. All my true blue fans know that. But I came down here just so I could finish the review. And also that was my aunt's dog. He's gonna be staying with us from now on. So yeah. He's a good boy, but he's not used to anyone doing videos yet. So that is definitely gonna be something we're gonna have to work on. So, where was I? I talked about the issue of Spider-Boy. I would have put between the two. How I would have ended with April Fools, and how it would have been a time travel issue, and how it would have tied together everything I have in this pile, even the DC stuff. That means, like, it would have said things like Bailey was a fan of Green Lantern. Oh, I remember now. Okay. Speaking of Green Lantern, the fight was cool. How they explained the red versus green Starheart was very cool. The whole issue was better than number 4. it was just a better issue. It wasn't as sad. It wasn't as purposely. I was kind of wrong. They do put in the Guardians of the Universe little Owens as a little cameo when they're explaining red versus blue. I mean, red versus green Starheart. Yeah, it it just needed them there so they'd know what they were talking about. Um, like I said, that whole moment was kind of cool. Um, you wonder how's Alan getting out of this one, and if you're in the future, you know what playlist this is in. This is in the JSA playlist, so I'll let you do the math there. But yeah, I could make predictions on this one, serious predictions, but I'm not going to. Mom, could you come down here, please? Come down here. The nice people couldn't see my mouth. Yes, much better. Thank you. Now they can see my face. All right, there you go. Um, I was just telling them about how um Johnny Ladd wasn't the only Red Lantern on Earth. I mean, you already know about Atrocitus and those guys in space, but he wasn't the only Red Lantern on Earth even, because you can't trust the Soviet Union. That's what they basically say in the book. You can't trust. Yeah. What do you think they did with how much do you trust your government? They they clearly tried to, but yeah. Um, it was an enjoyable book. Um, it might attract new readers in the future, like I said in the first half, in trade. Both these stories will do better in trade.
Green Lantern?
Green Lantern and Spider-Boy
Oh,
will do better as a big book.
Green Lantern would be fun to read all at once.
As a
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Spider-Boy will be too. But that's just my opinion.
Okay.
And I think Spider-Boy should definitely do a time travel issue. You know they have a Spider-Boy 2099 too.
Do they?
They do.
I don't remember. I know you got all that 2099, but I don't remember.
In the original Spider-Boy, in the Amalgam event, if they're gonna do it right. There's a Spider-Boy from 2099. He just shows up and saves that Spider-Boy's bacon. as the whole universe is changing. But Bailey needs to have a time travel issue. That's my opinion.
Do they look the same or not?
Kinda. You'd have to find the issue.
Well, it makes me want to dig through your comics and find it.
But yeah, it was right as the universe we're separating into two again. So, I've been Bob. I hope the last part of the video isn't too off kilter. This has been the Other World according to Bob. She's been Mom. Bob out. Peace out, sauerkraut. Okay. So, Johnny Ladd, this kind of happens, and I'd be remiss if I didn't point out it actually happens. Kind of. Because the fight with Johnny Ladd, because I refuse to believe that there's not any goodness left in that character. Doesn't quite look like this. In fact, Alan kind of looks more monster-esque, almost like Parallax. Like it's something out of, like it's not right. It's out of this universe. You know. I forget if Alan had his beard, but it doesn't happen exactly that way. They take away Johnny Ladd's ring. And you can tell that the Red Lantern power doesn't agree with Alan. That something ain't right. And Ladd's still baiting him the whole time. Yeah. So, do I think he deserves to live? Absolutely, kind of. Because they never killed Parallax. And Parallax has done far worse things than believe in a delusional ideal. And that's all Johnny Ladd has done. He didn't know about any of the other Red Lanterns or any of the other stuff in this review. Just, he's still idealistic. And we know that Alan doesn't find out about his daughter till the events of the JSA book, which, yeah, just came to me. So, he's not A-tier villain evil, but he is definitely a villain still. The way he toyed with Alan's heart wasn't right. And I believe that's what the writers are going for. So, I enjoyed the fight scene. It was pretty awesome. I enjoyed how they're going to incorporate. Maybe I'll say more about that in a few minutes. But how they're going to incorporate the Green Lantern mythos. And I mean, I didn't fully understand J. Edgar Hoover looking at a file, what that had to do with the fight scene. But I will in the next coming issue, because let's be honest, it probably had something to do with the JSA. This whole playlist does. So, yeah. I love the twist at the end, like I'm about to say, but do I think that Johnny Ladd got a fair punishment? Maybe. If I if he got punished the way I think he did, just getting turned into Red Lantern energy, that seems a bit extreme, but perhaps he tries to save himself in the end, or isn't concerned about what that look on his face as he realizes his ring can be smashed could have just been, oh, I missed the power. Because that's what happens when the other Red Lanterns, the Russian Red Lanterns, come down and they smash his little ring, and yeah. Back to past me.